I've always had this deep desire to explore the world around me. This wanderlust stems from a childlike sense of curiosity I have. Nothing satiates my thirst for knowledge more than to experience something extraordinary firsthand. However, this desire I have is stunted for many reasons. The biggest being my physical health. It's never been the best. Over time, I've realized how hard it was to fully satisfy this craving to wander in the real world. A desire to explore turned into a love for video games. That chance to travel and see what there was to see. Worlds that were brimming with curiosities to find, stories to take part in, and most of all, games that rewarded straying from the path. Franchises like Elder Scrolls, Zelda, and even some 3D platformers have offered me a taste of what it was like to meander to my heart's content. Then, a friend recommended and gave me Outer Wilds to try, and I want to share my thoughts on it. I want to start off by saying that if you haven't played Outer Wilds and are even remotely considering trying it out, please do so. Before continuing this video, a lot of what I'm going to talk about can and probably will ruin at least a few impactful moments. With that being said, let me guide you through my experience with Outer Wilds. My character woke up, gazing at the night sky above. A friendly figure seated by a campfire strikes up a conversation with me. My initial confusion is met with a warm soundtrack, whose beauty is matched by the environment surrounding me, and the new friend wishing me a good morning. After my brief chat, I began roaming. Chatting with the town folks I meet along the way helps me learn about my future endeavors. Apparently, I'm a pilot, and am set to be the new planetary explorer of this solar system. I also get to learn about my capabilities, and am introduced to technology that will accompany me through my travels. My main goal is to investigate more about a race of ancient beings called the Nomai, who have apparently been wiped from existence without a clear cause. Equipped with a Nomai translator, a few cool new tech toys, and a set of launch codes to begin my space journey, I was so excited to finally lift off. But first, something rather strange happens. I leave to board my ship, and that's when I'm hit with a bone-chilling moment. The statue I passed by earlier when retrieving my launch codes turned to me, opened its eyes, and flooded my screen with visions of my short walk around this planet. I was floored, and questions immediately flooded my mind. What was that? Why did it do that? Why did all of these things flash in my view? Getting to my ship and blasting off into space was an even more exciting prospect. I wanted to find out more about this world. I wanted to explore the solar system. I wanted to learn more about whoever made that statue. My first launch was, well, a little wobbly. But once I've taken full reign of my ship, I was met with the immensity of this solar system. I was floating in space, panicking, as I began to swerve farther and farther from my home planet of Timber Earth. My stomach sank, and it genuinely was the first time I felt so infinitely small in such a visceral way. Planets swirled around me, the gargantuan sun radiating brightly in my view, with the abyss of space surrounding me. It was a lot. I can't explain in words how genuinely terrified and enthralled I was. No other experience has pummeled me with these emotions before. I went back to my home planet to gather myself and start this ambitious venture off smaller. There, I found ruins, some sort of alien sea that only fueled my dread further, and a stone with quantum properties. If you take your eyes away from that stone, it will appear in a different location, which was cool and very creepy. But as I was drifting around the geyser mountains of this planet, I was met with the sight of the sun collapsing, then exploding, engulfing me and everything else. But just when it seemed like it would be over, my screen once again fills with visions of what I had just done in the game. Just like when the statues turned to look at me in the observatory, I wake up again by the campfire, starting over from the beginning, except with one important detail. I remember everything that happened, while everyone else is unaware of what transpired. And that is where the beauty of this game lies. You're stuck in a loop in which the sun explodes in 22 minutes, and once it does, you start the loop over. This sequence blew me away. What I initially thought was a weird limitation is actually where most of the game's best moments and coolest ideas came from. Every environment I explored also bent under the weight of this time limit, actively changing as the clock ticked forward. It made each place I explored feel truly alive. It didn't wait for me to find its secrets. It carried on with or without me. This put the initiative to explore entirely on me, exactly what I've always wanted. If a loop ended before I could explore a site completely, I was rocketing back to see what new things I could find. Backtracking never felt boring because I came back to something new every time, filling in the details that I missed earlier. This is where your Nomai translator becomes your best friend. Much of the reward for deep diving is learning more about what happened to them. This comes in the forms of logs, from the perspective of explorers who seem to be seeking something called the Eye of the Universe. The entries even include conversations with other fellow Nomai. After a while, I felt like I was even getting to know these explorers more intimately. The details they discussed and transcribed helped me better understand what happened to them and what they were accomplishing. This was used masterfully to guide me across the stars in search of a clear picture of the story that was being told. The mystery that perplexed me the most was the nature of the quantum moon. Similar to the stone I had previously discovered, it would remain visible when you looked at it, but when you looked away, it would vanish and appear orbiting another planet. There are plenty of mysteries in the game to solve, but this one stuck with me the most. It led to a wildly satisfying trek across the different planets. Once I had learned enough about the moon that I could finally explore it, the reward was beyond my expectation. It felt like a trail of breadcrumbs that was made for someone like me, a person who only wanted incredible things to see. All of this is entirely optional too. You could miss out on so many things in Outer Wilds simply from not wanting to deviate from the path. In retrospect, building a game like this where you get as much as you put in is risky. It won't resonate with everyone. But for people like me, I was starstruck all the way through. The genius and dedication it took to create Outer Wilds led to something unlike anything before it. It was clear how much imagination and vision went into making this game. There were so many occurrences that stuck with me after I put down the controller as the credits rolled. And that's the thing I want to truly praise most. The trip Outer Wild takes you on is one of a kind, and I am ever grateful to take part in it. It scratched my thirst to see new and exciting locales without having physical limitations stop me from diving as deeply as I wanted. I definitely share a very similar wish that so many players who finish Outer Wilds have. If I could erase my memories of it just to experience it blindly again, I would happily do so. It shook my mentality to its core and changed how I look at the stars at night. My imagination paints vibrant pictures of what possibilities lie beyond my world and understanding, exciting me for what experiences will shatter my perspective next.